So I'm not, so the 4 points. First, this point is not on there because this came to me this morning, probably before this morning. So I guess giving praise to God for acceptance in his acceptance of us. That word has come to me reoccurring throughout the week. I struggle so badly with what other people think. I hate to say so badly, but I do. Okay. When I think about what freedom looks like, that is me not caring what people think. And so this week while I was talking with my therapist, she talked about God's acceptance. It does not matter what other people think or feel about us or decisions that we make. Okay. It matters that he accepts us and where we are and whatever process of situations or whatever process that we are in life. The more that I think about acceptance, because first of all, when we think about acceptance, right, we typically think about wanting to be accepted by our friends or our family, or our peer groups or whatever. But then I felt it from another perspective that if there's a decision that I need to make or want to make, and I'm concerned about what people think of the decision that I make, that too is a form of acceptance. And at the time I wasn't thinking about it like that, because I was thinking about acceptance being just that. Like, I want these people to accept me. Okay. Not so much the things that I do or decisions that I make, but I want them to accept. I think that's how most people see acceptance being. Okay. But I recognize in the season that I'm in that my heart posture for many things must change. And in order for those things to change, well, I won't even say in order for those things to change, but for him to, God accepts me where I am. But in order for me to get the real freedom that I need to not care about what other people think, my mind needs to be positioned on how he wants my mind to change, the forgiveness that he wants me to have in this season, and for my heart posture to change. And he's accepting of me where I am right now, but even more so once I make those changes, turning towards him. And so then I will then feel the freedom from all of feeling that I care so much about what other people think. Because I know that I am truly accepted by him and that I'm accepting myself. Because I think the internal battle a lot of the times is ourselves. Like, not forget God because he's always there, but it needs to be more forget these people and forget what your mind is telling you. It needs to ultimately be what you feel. What do you feel comfortable with? What makes you feel good? What is pleasing in the eyes of God? So I don't know why acceptance just came to me the way that it did this week. And I think because maybe there's something about to shift for me. And I really need to take inventory of the people that I'm searching for acceptance from. So I don't know. That's the thing that's been on my heart a lot.
Were you driving when that happened?
No, I was in therapy. And
that's right.
I was reading this morning. Okay.
So that's a good one, because as I was driving, that's kind of where, when you said heart posture, her posture is so in depth that it's so basic, and God is like gives it to us like plain and basic, but he's so in depth at the same time. And that heart posture really got me, when it's not even, we just always want to be accepted. I feel like because social media, everything is like follow, acceptance, approval, all this stuff. But like, even sitting with God yesterday, last night, acceptance, he's God. That's the only acceptance that we need.
That's it.
Like, your acceptance on being my friend is an added bonus.
Absolutely. I love that.
Right?
Because we love each other for who we are. It's just this extra piece that you don't really need that. It's great, but you don't really need that. And if you can't or you don't, then bye.
Not even bye. It's like, I feel like we just want to, like when people enter into our lives, we're like, let's keep them forever. Let's hold them forever. But certain people are not there forever.
Right.
Certain people are there to, like, teach us, learn, grow from. And even as you, like, I talk to certain girlfriends and we're talking for a season, and then sometimes we don't talk for a season. Mm-hmm. But it's not that they don't love us any less or judge us any less, or like, we have to have our self-acceptance or our self-worth within ourselves. Right. We really do. Because once you know how God views you, it really doesn't even matter how other people view you.
That's the biggest
It really doesn't even
matter. Because we spend our time wanting to give all of these reasonings why, as to why we're doing things, or as to who it should matter for. Like, we just spend so much time invested in people who probably don't even care.
They're not even thinking about you.
They're not thinking about, and that's my problem. I'm sitting here thinking, I will create an entire scenario in my head.
That's it by itself. I create that so many times, and I have told myself when I start creating it, stop.
Right.
Like,
you have to
stop. And when and really say it out loud sometimes and be like, stop. And you'll be like, what was I just thinking about? Like, you can't even go. You can't even go.
Because it's so foolish. By the time you get down to the bare minimum of it all, it's just stupid.
It is.
It's ridiculous what you've concocted in your head, and that person is probably over there minding their business, probably doing the same thing, honestly, in some other realm. But it has nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with them.
And if they are thinking about you and they are talking about you, you know what? You are, like I said, the highlight of somebody's day. And thank you, Lord, for having us on your mind. Thank you for thinking about me that highly, that you're thinking about me or non-accepting or talking about me or whatever. I'm relevant in your life.
All of that.
Right? So that should also give you a sense of acceptance that someone else is thinking about you. Negatively or positively. Something that I heard too on the infamous TikTok was that, I'm trying to say verbatim what he had said. Like, it's something along those lines. If someone's talking about you positive, someone's going to either think about you in a positive light, and another person's going to probably think about you in a negative light.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's people's perception of you at that moment, at that season.
So do you care then? I had a conversation with a friend a couple of months ago. Do you care more about perception? Was it perception? Or, oh gosh, I wish I could remember. I'm mad I even brought it up now. I'm mad I even brought it up.
But while you're thinking about it, I'm going to say this. I don't care about how people perceive me, think about me, talk about me. That's their own life. Right? And if I'm that important in your life, okay. Like, but I don't care. What I care is that, honestly, I don't even care if it's negative, if it's false, if it's true, if it's not. I don't care.
Right.
Because you know what? Like I said, how God sees me, that's all that matters. Because you know what? Guess who's with me when I'm crying at night? Guess who's with me in the lonely night? Guess who's with me knowing all the bad stuff I do, all the good things I do? Guess who sees all that? He does. He's the only one that knows the truth, because he sees everything. All those people, they don't see you. They don't see you when you go to your house, when you're crying at night, when you're doing stuff behind the scenes. They don't see you.
They don't see the work.
So how can they actually have factual truth and factual things to say about you when they don't see? All they see is what you put on camera, what you put on social media, or what you're telling them face to face. And what you could be telling them face to face could be a complete facade.
That's true. true.
The only and I think that's where he says, the only person that can judge you is me. Because I see everything that you're doing. Humans don't see everything that you're doing. And you're a human. You're not a God. You're a human. And I even, to myself, I'm like, yo, I'm only human. So I can only come with love. I can only come with peace. I can only come with just hearing you out.
Right.
With advice. Hey girl, I think you should do this differently because this is what worked for me.
Right. And that's just it. I think that's as far as it can really go.
Whether you take the advice or you don't.
Right.
Like if you want to, you want to. If you don't, you don't. Like we just think sometimes as humans we are bigger than our bridges, right? We're bigger than
we're far great. We give ourselves more credit, I think, than we probably should. We think more or highly of and I don't want to say as if you shouldn't be confident, but there are times that we think a lot more highly of ourselves, or we think that we are giving so much credit to somebody else to think so much of us. And really, they are probably going through something that just, one, has nothing to do with us. And that secondly, that they don't need to waste their time on thinking about me. You know what I mean? I think going back to acceptance, to the other piece that I was thinking through, because it took me through a lot of places, not just acceptance of wanting to be accepted or the fact that God accepts me no matter what. I think about strongly with religion and bringing people into the church. I feel like the word has been here lately, probably the past couple of times that I've visited church, these past couple of Sundays, that there is not so much talk that shuns people away, but I think people get shunned away or feel shunned because of what is being presented that you cannot do in church. You cannot be this way. You cannot be this person. You cannot dress this way. And I think people who have a longing to know God, people who are already believers and then just need a place, I feel like there are times that church people, and it always goes back to church people being judgmental, therefore people don't feel the acceptance they need to feel in a place where they should be able to, one, just come as you are. And for the longest, come as you are, when people mostly think about come as you are, it's based on what you're dressed like. But come as you are is far deeper than what you have on. Come as you are is who are you in your walk. If you are in a bad place in your life, if it is, needing to be healed, if it's needing to return to God, you were once there and you need to be restored. If it is a drug addiction, if it is porn, whatever the case may be, you should be able to come in to a place without judgment and already knowing that, because it's one thing to say, hey, God accepts me the way that I am. But people, let's forget about church people for a minute, but people,
No, we're the worst.
We're the worst.
We're the worst because regular people will love you. Not regular. Let's retract that. People that are non-believers will love you more than a Christian will, and we're supposed to believe it more than they do. Right. We're supposed to walk it more than they do, but they show it more than what we do. And I was sitting with God the other day, and he was like, just show my people that I love them. Like, loud and clear. Like, doesn't even matter about anything else. Just show them that I'm loved, Shahara. Show them that I'm loved. I just want them to know that I love them.
And you've got so many examples to show, because I think people who don't know tend to think, well, what does God's love look like?
That's it right there.
And it's always talking about the trash times that you go through in your life, right? It's talking about being down in the valley. And it's like, even though I am here in this place, he's still beside me every single day in it all. He wakes me up to the trash, every day. But at least I woke up to it. You know what I mean? So I think having to show not just the good times, because we are so good about putting that out there, putting out, oh, he's done this for me, or this thing happened, I got this contract, I got this job, I got this new home. All of these things happen, and we put that out there for people to see, and we know God is good in that. But people want to know where God is when things are not so good either.
Hello. I think one downfall that I did when I was, you know, when I moved out, was not recording that healing process. Because now people see me in a different light, and I really do wish that I recorded those bad moments and just went back, because I can look at them and be like, yo, that was a bad moment, and God really pulled me out through that moment.
But you still have a voice. That's exactly what I'm saying, though. We can speak to God's goodness still in the moment.
Okay,
because maybe you didn't record it, right?
Right.
But you are here right now to talk about it, because that's what testimony is all about. I'm here to talk about it right now, right here today.
Because I honestly did not want to share that moment. Like, I mean, we're still going through it. It is not all peaches. It is not all healing. But some of it was bad. It's bad. I mean, shivering at night, not knowing what to do. And that's what I mean with the acceptance. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, she left and he was such a good person. And I'll be completely honest. I don't even, like, the more and more God speaks to me, he's like, I don't want you to be silent about this. This is nothing to be silenced about. But I'm trying to find the words and the right heart posture to not downplay somebody else, because you don't know what you do at that moment. You don't know. Humans don't know how we're affecting another human. Not to say that everything is bad, but, you know, in a reference to, you know, in certain relationships, you just don't know. I found out something that happened to an ex-friend of mine, and at that moment, I just wanted to reach out and just give her my great heart posture at that point. Hey girl, you know what I mean? I know you're going through this. This is what I heard. But what got returned was negativity. How was I going to deal with that? Was I going to deal with it like, go back at her and be like, oh my God, da, 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 da. I know what you're dealing with.
Right.
What you're dealing with, you just basically put it on me, but had nothing to do with me. So how am I going to just sit there and be like, let me lash out on this girl when she's going through this? She just is going through all this stuff, and she just wants to lash out at that point to take her mind off of what she's going through and put it on me.
But that's how it typically goes. But then
later on you get the apology.
You do, but I think you have to figure out where you are in the process. So when I hear that, I hear we all have a choice. So another thing I think since we last got together, I have had test after test. We talked about this. I am not excited. I was in this place of being a position of solitude and separation. I am not excited about the journey, because I don't know what's on the other side, right?
Yep.
That has, because I have no control of it. I'm relinquishing control. I surrender to God to all of it, right? But in that, I was like, you know what, Lord, I do not like this. I don't know where the end is going to lead, but I am ready for the test. Bring the test on.
Okay.
The test came 3 times. I failed. And I was so hard on myself, because at this point, you have a choice to make. You have a choice to go right or to go left. And when he presented those opportunities, he's presented those tests, I chose the wrong way to go every single time. Every single time. So when I hear about the old friend in you, she could have chosen to go a different route, or she could have do like she did, and she lashed out on you. But I think it's part of the process. It's part of growing with God and knowing that what am I trying to say here? Growing with God and making the right decision so that your healing process can have a
now,
different
are they
outcome.
ready to heal? That's another thing too.
And that's the other part. Yeah, are they ready to heal?
Because sometimes people are not.
But you can absolutely be ready to heal and you still lash out.
Oh,
it's part of the process. It's part of the healing process. It is. And you're not wrong for it.
Nope.
This is just where you
are at that right. You know what? You're absolutely right, because I'm just gonna put it out there, and he's probably gonna see it, but it's okay. He won't be mad. I know he won't be mad. So, my friend, we were talking, and I'll just say this. He calls me one day, and I literally lashed out on him. But in the midst of my healing journey, I'm literally a couple months in, and I'm hot because you were there during the time where I needed you the most. And I was just so excited to just have someone at that moment to just show me how God wants me to be in this light, in this moment. And he just has so much positivity and so much guidance of God's purpose, not purpose, but God's light.
Right.
That I was like, I love that. And so going through it, he didn't call for a couple of days. He calls, and I literally lashed out on him. But at that point, I'm healing at that point. So I'm like, and so now recently seeing it's a different light. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have lashed out on you. I shouldn't have said X, Y, and Z, because I was just in my feelings of what I wanted. I didn't know what you were going through. I didn't know how you were processing and what you mentally were going through. But here I am lashing out on you. That's not of God. Right. That's not a godly woman. And I shouldn't have done it. Thank you for wanting to continue to be my friend.
I just think sometimes we forget that there are different levels to our healing. And we're going to have the moments of lashing out. We're going to have the moments of taking the wrong turn versus the right turn. But what I have learned and what has come back to me in those moments, I've had these conversations with a couple of friends, and it's like, yo, I failed the test, I lost. And I had one was just like, yo, you didn't lose at all. This is an opportunity for you now to be more aware, because you told God, hey, I'm ready for the test. And because you said it out loud, and because you said it you were just adamant and God, bring it on, he brought it. And you just,
he's going to give you another one.
Oh yeah, they're gonna come. I'm so well aware now, but I think I was just I'm gonna get it.
Oh, you're gonna get it at the first try.
Yeah,
you're gonna get it.
I thought I was at the first, second, and third try.
You know what? I'm in that boat too, because God has, and it's funny that I'm saying boat to be a reference, because when God sends you certain things, it's a reference or a thing. God sent me one boat, and I passed by it. Then he sent me another one, and I passed by it. Sent me a third one, and it had so at this point, I feel like I've had a couple of boats that have passed.
I'm not doing good.
Do you need the?
I know. I think it's my arm positioning.
Do you need to get closer?
I think so. Jesus.
So that's why I have to carry this one, because I need that to be close. So at that moment, I'm I no lie, prayed yesterday. I said, God, please give me another boat, because you know what? Yeah, the first 3 times that she sent that boat, I didn't know what to do with it. But this next time, I'm definitely gonna know what to do with it.
I think that's part of the awareness piece that my friend was saying. You're a lot more aware now. You went in guns blazing, and it's okay. It is okay, because you want to. My connection or my relationship with God as it's growing, I want more and more, and I want to do the right thing. And so in my mind, I'm just I got it. I'm going to be aware, and you're not. So now the fact that I am aware, of the choices that I have made. Now that I'm aware that I have failed the test, it should allow me to take a step back and say, hey, I have a different choice to make, however this goes. If I want to be healed, I cannot live in the place that I once did before.
Hello.
And I think that's the hard part of us trying to heal, because sometimes we want to hold on to the remnants of what we used to be, what we used to have, and it worked for one season, but it doesn't mean we can carry that same mentality into the next season. So it's important to remember, like, okay, like she said, okay, now you're aware. You can't be all nuck if you buck if you want to. You can't, because that's not going to get you anywhere. One, it doesn't get you anywhere in your healing. It doesn't get you anywhere with your relationship with God. And then how can you be nice and just be who God wants you to be with other people? Another part of that is, like, if you're still carrying those things from a previous season, how do you expect for those things to work well in the seasons to come? And even with that, you block some blessings with that mentality. If I'm still carrying the same thing, something that needs to move out of my way, and I'm still bringing it along on this journey into the next season, how in the world?
How can you be a better single mom? Because me and you are.
Okay.
We can't. And we're raising our beautiful queens
who see our actions.
Like,
or just a lot of the times we sit and think it's all about what we say to our kids, because it's coming out of our mouths and they can hear us. But what they see is even bigger, I think, than what we say, because the things that are not verbalized, the actions, is just like we were talking about. Like, I'm so grateful for some of the things that she sees me doing in this healing process, because what did I say? Taking it back to that foundation. Like, I need her to have that foundation. You need to have to know what she's rooted in.
You don't know what, like I said, you don't know what she's gonna do in college.
Right.
She might wake up and be like, all right, mom was praying and she was reading the Bible. Now I'm gonna do that.
Right. And that's what I hope, that she sees me every morning, early in the morning. That's what I'm in the Bible. And I hope that she can remember to take that on. That's part of her putting on her armor for the day, you know? So I need for her to see those things.
I feel like if you don't, I feel like sometimes my day is off when I don't do that. Like, I mean, completely off-putting.
Yeah.
When I do not when I don't read or take a moment to do that. And it's hard because I saw something that said, like, when you become a mother, when you become a wife, God knows that his time with you is going to be, like, very slim and minimum. That way, like, and it keeps on replaying in my head, like, this time, Shajara, this time with me right now is so special. I have never had this time with God. I have never had this much time with God. I've talked about him, and especially in my beginning of my believing journey, but I've never talked about him and believed in him and trusted in him and relied on him, that he is my safety net at this moment.
Right.
So it's like that foundation, that going into a new relationship, or just showing Kaimani when she gets older, that's your foundation. No one else is that foundation. Not me, not your dad, not your husband, not your husband, not your little friend, not your little boyfriend that you might date. Because God, and at that point, it's just things that I'm learning that I get to now elevate from what my mom taught me, got me thus far.
Yeah.
Now I get to show Kaimani what God does on top of that through me, through her. Like, she don't even gotta have little boyfriends. She don't have to have little boyfriends, because if she sits down and she asks God, who is that husband for me? I'm telling you 100%, he's going to give a name. He is going to give a destination. He might not tell you when he comes. And I know this to be true because I have it within myself. So she could just go on dates, to be honest. Because she don't even need, like, Layla, the same thing. She might sit down in college, pray, get into the word, go into it, and then all of a sudden God gives her the revelation of her husband. Now she just going on dates just to go on to, hey, you my friend.
Right.
You was my friend. And, like, legit, just my friend. Because God has already told me. He didn't tell me when my husband was coming, but he gave me what he looked like.
And before he told me, he already knew anyway. He already knew.
Yeah. But it's like and that's another thing. If we want answers, we can get the answers. And it's just being still enough. That's still enough to listen to them. Because we're not still enough to listen to them. I feel like we're moving, and that's where 2020 came into place. And people were still moving and still wanting to do stuff, and they weren't really sitting down to really listen to what God had the plan and the vision for them. And I'm one of those people. God said, "Oh, you don't want to listen then? Well, guess what? You're gonna listen now.
Sit your butt down now." And then that's just how He works, though. He always will find a way to make you stop or listen or sit. I need you to, since this is the route you wanted to continuously take, because again, you had choices, you had options. I mean, because he gives us free will.
Yes.
And that's fine.
But then when you surrender to him, he's like, you just surrendered to me. So now, sit down.
Yeah.
So now is my turn. And at this point,
that's my life right now. It is my turn. Oh, but I love it so much.
Oh, I love it so. You know what?
I can't complain. I cannot complain. I love it so much because, one, shout out to you because of this, and shout out to Joyce Myers because of this Bible. I had to. I think I got a lot of shout outs now that I think about it, because being in this season, as I pulled this book out. So that was Joyce Myers, that Everyday Life Bible. And then this right here, Studying Elijah through Priscilla Shearer.
We gotta get Bible study.
That is everything. When you talk about obedience, there is nothing like the way Elijah is obedient. There's nothing like it because his whole heart that he has given to God, he shows up that when God says go, he does, and he does not question it. He does not question it. But and I think that's such a beautiful testament to one, God's love. How if we could sit down and go through Elijah, oh my goodness. It's a testament to God's love, because there are times that there was never a time that Elijah did not question what God wanted for him to do. He just did it. And that's the thing with us, because we will sit there and question and how God, should I do this? Or we don't even consult with God. We just go do whatever we want to go do. And then here we are sitting out in the wilderness just wondering
why we're there.
Why we're there, or what am I going to get what I need while I'm here? And not thinking about the fact that he's going to sustain us through it all, no matter what. And that's Elijah he did what he was told to do. And God kept him through every single situation. So shout out to Priscilla Shearer, and shout out to my girl Denyana Collins for even doing this Bible study and getting a bunch of brilliant women together to go.
I need to join the Bible study. I'm late.
We about to wrap it up in a week.
Maybe I'll be on the next one.
This is something that never gets old. You have to. It's worth the investment of getting this book and going through. I don't have pieces of it just because, or I would say I have the book just because the Bible study is led by somebody else. So they have the whole thing because there's a video series with Priscilla Shearer facilitating it. So it's just so good from that perspective, but it's well worth it. And then just really understanding, to me, it's helped me to be able to be a lot more closer to God. It's helped me to see what obedience truly looks like. It helps me to see what it means to stand out away from your peers, where we're in a world where sometimes it looks crazy to be a Jesus lover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be a believer. So to step out and to be able to speak to, like, I've got a group of friends. They might not be in the Bible in the way that I am. They may not be in Bible study or any of those things, but this has taught me, don't be afraid of who you are and who you honor
and who you are called to be.
Because you're standing, if you're going to stand amongst the people who aren't willing to come out and prove and profess their love to God, you're just kind of, what is it that she said? You're just kind of playing hopscotch You're like, I'm here for God, but then I'm still kind of here in the world, and I want to be more like the people. Again, acceptance, wrapping it back around to acceptance. I want to be more like these people, but no, if he's called me to do this thing, if he's called me to be here with you to do this podcast, if he's called me to do my book, and they're speaking through the word of this book. You know, I've had speaking engagements that somehow have had me in nothing but churches, which I find totally odd for me. But he's had me in that place. And am I going to be scared to accept the call, or I'm going to stand back here with these people and be like, I don't want to be a Jesus lover. I'm going to be a believer, but I'm a believer behind the scenes. And that ain't cool. That's not cool. So, yeah, shout out to that. I really, I have really embraced and loved. There's so many people in the Bible too, because you got Esther, who is the same, who has done the same thing, who has stepped up, you know, with her calling and being in the position that she was in. Because think about it, Esther had to go before the king, where if you weren't summoned, you could be killed. And she just showing up like, yo, I need this for my people. I need for my people to live.
In my opinion, I think God had already told her nothing's gonna happen to you. Go.
But that's that obedience. That's that obedience and knowing. But she had to show up for her people. Are you willing to step out like Elijah did? Are you willing to step out like Esther did?
And it's crazy that you said it. What goes through my head, and I gotta just say this publicly, is I go back and I'm like, God, why did I leave this relationship how I left this relationship? And why did I leave so suddenly? And every time it's like, because when you sat in that closet and you cried with me, I told you to go. And no one is going to come at me, your God, the God, and the God that created them as well, of an explanation of why I told you to go.
I told you to go.
I told you to go.
Yeah.
It wasn't your choice. It wasn't your... I told you to go. It was time for you to go. The season was up. It was up. It was time for you to go. And just like Esther, the obedience. Elijah, the obedience. Now, just when he tells me to do something, the obedience, because I don't know what else is going to happen in my life where he might be like, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And that blessing could be for someone else. And if my obedience is to be like, I didn't even listen to when you said to go, and I'm still here when you said you need to go, then how can I bless you with other things? How can I bless you with finances? How can I bless you with what I need you to do in this world? How can I bless you with your purpose if you can't even just go?
Good. That is so good, because when we typically think, or I'll speak for myself, when I typically think about how can he bless me in my finances or bless me in certain areas of my life, it's because I go right back to, am I being a good steward of those things? But it's not just that. It's exactly what you said too. If I am telling you to go in one area, how can I trust that you will go and do in other areas? It's again it's that hopscotch. That's that back and forth.
Oh yeah, lukewarm,
being lukewarm,
coming back. You know what I mean? I think we play that game with him, but I think right now in this, I won't even say this season, because it's just too close.
Yeah,
it's too close. There's too many revelations where I sit down and I'm like, this is too close for comfort. Like, it's getting close to the end. Like it's getting close to like Saturday when Jesus is coming back.
Do you feel like that? Because I feel like as you are more wrapped up in the word, when you're getting that knowledge, things hit different, right? Things hit very different. Whereas the tests seem harder, your reactions are different versus if you are not in the word, not of the knowledge of what's in the word, that you make decisions and it doesn't feel as bad. It doesn't look as bad. Do you know what I mean? Because there's like this spotlight now on you. And you receive it different. You know the word. You know you could be doing so. You know your choices could.
You hold a higher responsibility, within yourself. You hold a higher responsibility. Yeah, that's why.
Because think about when you weren't in this space now, and maybe your situations and in circumstances would have come, but the way you reacted to them, it still probably wasn't a good reaction. But you don't feel the heaviness that you once would before that you do now.
Ooh, that makes me want to, girl, you ain't had to talk to my soul like that. My spirit, my Holy Spirit is like she just said it. Like,
seriously,
what?
I feel like things hit so differently now. It's
different. It hits different. Like I said, May 30th, May 31st, I woke up. It literally was May 31st. I woke up and I was a totally, completely different person. I was a different person. Like, I don't know how I woke up and what I woke up to. I was brand new. My whole, even like, the chaos is still around me. It's just how I'm handling it. The situation. I'm not going to I'm not going to other people for validation anymore. I'm going to God.
That part.
I'm not going to ask so and so to hang out, do certain things. I'm just like, you know what, if I have to be by myself, there's a purpose of why I'm by myself.
That part.
And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to pray and I'm going to worship and I'm going to be with God. Apparently God wants me to be with him.
He wants that time.
I'm going to sit here and be with him, right? And I think now the revelation is coming that when he told me to leave, he told me because I want you by yourself. And not only because certain people are going to get this and certain people are not going to get this, because you only need the Holy Spirit and the holy eyes, the spiritual eyes to really get this. Is that when he told me to leave, he wanted me for him. He wanted me alone so that he can physically hear him specifically and his voice alone. There was no other influence, because in my life, there has always been other influence in my life. There's been other influences trying to dictate how my life should go. And he's like, I'm done. I'm done with all the little influences, all the little people, all the devils trying to come in and say whatever and do whatever. No, this my child. She's chosen, and I've chosen her, and she knew she was chosen once she was born.
Yes, amen.
So I need her to understand that her purpose helps other people's purposes, and I need it because I'm God. Y'all not God, 100%. So throw them out. So sitting with them, sitting with him. Even getting into the new apartment and sitting with him, I remember, with the spiritual journey, I just thought that it was the universe just telling me, no, it was God. Verbatim, I was asking him questions after questions after questions, and it was a yes, and it was a no, and it was this direction, and this is where you need to go, and this is where you need to go, and this, even with the podcast. Who wanted to be a podcaster? Nobody. Everybody does podcasts. But when God says, you just move like Elijah. Like, you just say, okay, I'm just going to move how Elijah. But it's not about what everybody is doing. Because something that I heard too, is a wave. There's more people that you can't be just the only one doing stuff.
Right. It
needs to be a wave. And then guess what? You guys come together and become a bigger ocean together. But people were just too much. There was too much influence. So now I only hear him. And I don't care what other people say. I don't care what other people do. I don't care because the only influence is him.
I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there to that place again where I just do not care. Because on a very basic level, when it comes to business, and If anybody knows me, they know that I'm not a big social media person in terms of, I just want to put the stuff out there, and I don't want to turn around and look back at it. I don't even want to do it, to be quite honest. I don't even want to go and like create the content and put it out there. I just don't. I don't feel like, and when I get there, because I have seen in different communities that I have been part of, that people can absolutely thrive and their business be amazing, and it works the way it needs to without social media, because once upon a time we did not have social media, so it's possible, it can be done. I want to be on that level. I do not want to have to go on where I got to promote pretty much everything via social media, just let you know what's going on via social media. But I'm trying to get there, because in my mind, when I put those things out there, I do care, or that holds me back before I even create the content. I'm just like, what are these people going to think? Somebody's got something to say. Somebody's probably over there talking about such and such.
Someone's always going to have something to say. Even with this, someone's going to have something to say. They're going to be like, you don't know the word how you're supposed to, but you share it. Whatever the case may be. But you know what? God didn't tell you to do the podcast. God didn't tell you to do X, Y, and Z. God didn't tell you, people got to stay in their lane. And this is where, I'm starting to understand where you have a purpose, but you're so far into other people's business and what they're doing that you can't even hear what God has for you. Because you're focused over here. Focused on you. You know what I mean? And then how about you then do this? Because even before being in all this, I would ask people all the time, you want that life? You want to be where they are? Why don't you ask them? Instead of talking about them, instead of, oh, she got this. Oh, she's doing this. Oh, she's being over here. Oh, how about you ask them, how did you get there?
How did you get there?
How are you like this? How are you moving in this form? How are you...
Look.
Okay.
Minus the eyebrows. My eyebrows.
but you like the look. I was like, okay, look at us getting warmed up. When I edit these videos, we're gonna be like, oh, we're finally getting to a point where we're comfortable talking and doing makeup at the same time. I told you, God knew. God knew.
That we got to come up on here. That's another thing. I got to come up on here without makeup. But at least I ended with it.
It's vulnerability.
It's very vulnerable.
It's stripping. Let's circle it back to what you just said. Coming to God with as you are. We're coming on here as we are. This is how God made us. God didn't make us with makeup. He just made it so if you wanted to put some on, you could put some on. But he did not make us.
Skilled or not.
Skilled or not.
Used to be skilled.
Not even that. Like, you can learn. This is all a learning experience.
Yeah.
Like, you can learn to do makeup. You can learn about the Bible. You can learn about Jesus. You can learn about new products.
Stuff. Yeah.
You can learn about etiquette. You can learn about healing. Let's learn. Let's heal. Let's heal together. You know, and let's you know, it's a community. That's two single women, two women raising daughters. It's so simple but so elevated at the same time. So what was another key point that you had that you wrote? Because apparently I don't have my other phone, so I can't even see the other. Well, I know, because we just went off of acceptance. That was the one point. We didn't get to the other point.
I think to circle back around though too, because we were talking about how it is to come as you are.
Okay.
And I think that's important for people to know, that if they're watching this or wherever they are, in their walk, if they have not started the walk, whatever the case may be, I think it's important for people who are believers, people who are in the church, not to make people feel bad for where they are, and then trying to get to at least where you are. And then honestly, I don't know if I want to be where you are if you're sitting over here judging me and can't accept me. I think that's a major thing. So knowing, like I said, it's one thing for God to accept you, but it's another because we are in the world, we are of the flesh, and we're in this world, we're not of this world. So it's okay to be different. It's okay to be different, but I think where I'm going is with the mindset of this is where we are.
Yeah.
So we are going to 9 times out of 10, before we care about what God feels and thinks, we're going to care about what other people think.
We are.
Until you get to that level where I'm trying to be, not to care about what other people think, and to have acceptance from other people, naturally, we go to human form first. I care what you think before sometimes I even think about what God thinks. And I know he doesn't want us to be there. He wants us to be where I love you. I love you.
That's where we just need to be, period.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be mad, you want to lash out, I still love you.
I still love you. Yeah.
Like, come as what Jesus did. Jesus loved the
people
stripper.
Don't
Jesus
allow that. People do not allow
But
that.
what are you going to allow? Are you going to allow the energy of, you know what? She don't like me. I don't like her either. She did this. I don't. And I do that face because that's how you look. Like, that's how your spirit looks. It has like that look. So, or are you going to allow your spirit to be like, you know what? Regardless of how you feel, how you act, I still love you. I still care about you. At the end of the day, I left. He's still the father of my child.
Mm-hmm.
Still got him a gift on Father's Day because I appreciate you and I love you as my father's child. Mm-hmm. And that comes with healing and it comes with co-parenting.
Because a lot of people are not there.
No, and it's okay that, I mean...
it's okay if they never even get there, honestly though,
because it has nothing
to do with my healing, personally. My healing has to, and it's funny that you say, you know, in reference to being a mom and doing the things that you probably would not, or some of us do not think of doing as mothers, because I stopped doing the happy birthdays and happy Father's Day. I stopped because I wasn't getting any of that, and I'm the main one taking care of the kid. I should be getting, anyways.
But that's the heart posture.
Right.
That's the heart posture is, I'm not getting this, so I'm not going to do that for you because I'm not getting this.
But it shouldn't be a tit for tat thing. That's what it should not be. But eventually I got to the point that I can say, because it's still that way now, even though the happy birthdays don't come or happy Father's Day don't come, I still can be woman enough to pick up the phone and say, and I did the very thing and said, hey, you know, I don't know what's going on or why we are the way that we are right now, but let's figure this thing out because we can be better. I did that part, and then, you know, I thought it was helping. It did nothing, but I did my part, and
How did it make you
love
feel?
you. It makes me feel great because I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah,
I did what I was supposed to do. I love that freaking lip gloss. That is gorgeous.
Awesome.
What is that?
This is of course, you Mac girl. This is old.
I know it's
Shout out to my sister Chanel. This is such an old lip gloss. When I mean,
we're in the whole little Barbie era right now because the Barbie movie's coming out, and that's perfect. That's what that is.
It's literally called Pink Poodle.
I like that.
I don't know if they still sell it, but it's a MAC lip gloss, and she gave it to me for one of my birthdays, like eons ago.
Yeah,
eons.
I like that.
I was supposed to not do this pink, but
it works.
We're gonna go.
It works, but yeah, for my healing, I feel great. I feel like I did. Now I still, in some cases, think about my daughter, obviously, because I did that for her, but nothing ended up coming out of it, you know, that would benefit her. It's been great.
You know what? It did benefit her. Guess what? Because it helped you.
And she gets to see mom in a different light.
Yep,
because mom in a different light before
she gets to see mom
I'm not talking to your daddy anymore unless something happens to you, because
now your heart posture is not, you're breaking that generational curse of talking bad about her father, right? Because, you know, I'm putting my mom on blast, but my mom did it all the time, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah. I don't care if he talks about me. I don't care if
I don't talk bad about the man, but in my mind, it was, I have nothing else to say to you unless something is happening with her.
Oh, of course,
and
course.
I still wanted her to see that mom extended herself. It is now on your dad and you to have this relationship. I did what I could do. And, you know, even with that sometimes, and you'll see because Kamani is so small.
When she get to college, that's gonna be a good one for me because I'm gonna be like, that's your relationship, not mine.
But that's my point. It's gonna be before then because I was doing that. I had my hands in the pot, messing, trying to figure out, and they had already had their own thing at the time where they were good, but then I was still trying to like control or trying to make sure he did and trying to make sure she did, and they already had it. I had to pull myself out of it. But then, you know, I started to see where it was going. It was going left. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? Still me trying to put, and you know what? It had to stop. Like, because now she's old enough. She's old enough to communicate, Dad, I need this. Or he is old enough to communicate, like, I need this from you too. It's a relationship between the both of them, and I have to fall back. So,
and hopefully the communication gets better within time. You know, I cannot wait. Girl, you got seven spray? I need some seven.
I don't. I
left my powder to like, but I don't even care. I'm gonna set my spray later.
Yeah. I usually have some. Mac makes like this green tea one.
Oh, I love it.
That's what I have.
How much green tea do they actually put in there? That's what I want to know. Like, how much actually is the tea really in there, or is it just a drop of like this synthetic green tea or a green tea smell?
I don't know. Well, it doesn't smell like that, but it doesn't smell like that at all. But no, I think more than anything, and again, wrapping back to acceptance, because of the nature of the relationship with her father, I don't want her to feel, because of what that relationship is now, that even from her father she doesn't feel accepted. Because the ultimate father is the one has already accepted you anyway.
Hello.
I don't know.
I think that when we get there as women, that we don't need the acceptance of friendship. We don't need the acceptance of people. I literally wrote this morning. It's crazy how we talk about things like this, because I'm like, God, just let me just be all about you and the acceptance of you. When you're so wrapped up in your life and what you're doing and trying to heal and trying to be better and trying to break down, like, look at all of that I just said. That's like 3% of what my life is right now. And we're still going. We're always going to evolve. We're always going to, but if you focus on him and you never lose sight of him, he's always going to make it better. He's fighting for you in the fights that you think that he's not fighting in.
Right.
That's like
when
you
think
said,
that
like,
you're not that you're going to be defeated in. Like,
yes. Well, I mean, my favorite
defeat looks so different though too, because the way we view defeats, like, oh, I didn't get the relationship I wanted, I didn't get the job, and it's like, no, there's something else that is coming out of this. You were not, the defeat didn't happen. It didn't happen because there's something else in this, in order for you to get to the victory of it all. And you won. You won in some form of fashion. You did not lose.
I definitely believe that. Like, even when I look back and there's certain opportunities that happen. For instance, I'll take you real quick back to, we're talking about Mac. I was supposed to get a job at Mac. And I really wanted this job, but I knew at that point I was still, I was doing my thing with Vogue Beauty, and I was doing makeup. And at that time I was working with someone else, and she was paying me X amount of money, right? So I was like, okay, to leave her and to still continue doing Vogue Beauty, that's how much money I would have to make to work at Mac. So when I had went back, when Mac was like, okay, we're going to offer you the job. And in hindsight, it's crazy because I should have taken the job, because now I'm like, it all works out for a purpose, but it's, I shouldn't have, but I should have. But yeah, but I feel like I did it because of the next statement that I'm going to make. So I was like, I need X amount of money. They were like, well, that's a manager role. You're not at a manager role at that point because that's you. Basically, she was like, that's how much I make. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to deny this. I was so upset that day, and we had drove to Savannah. I was upset, meaning my friends didn't know why I was upset. Got into a big old thing with my friend, not because of. I don't think anything that I did. I just feel like I was sad at that moment, right? So we had went out or whatever, and just things transpired, and you know, they just didn't know that I was sad because of me not getting a job. I was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? I'm still freelancing and stuff like that. Lo and behold, here comes God. A couple weeks later, gives me this admin job for double the amount. So
it wasn't a complete defeat. You were looking for the money, right? Right? So, I mean, you still got what you wanted. It's done. It won't take us to 60 minutes.
Ooh. We done. I can chop that up. We can chop that up. Okay. Done.
Yeah, we might have to stop it at
like 55.